I think, okay.
Hello, everyone. This is Luke Stokes and Katie Z with FIO Protocol. Today is Tuesday, March 2nd, and we got a whole bunch of stuff to cover today. We're trying to get through it pretty quick, but how you doing, Katie?
Great. Just coming back from a little hiatus, back into the flow on this bull run with a sinus infection. Sorry, everybody. How are you doing, Luke?
I'm doing fantastic. I got to actually hang out in Florida, which is your state as well, this past weekend, or not this weekend, before that, with my friend Xavier Hawk and his FIO on Launch app, which was super fun. Lots of cool stuff going on in the FIO world. I think we should probably just jump right into it because we're trying to keep these videos short and sweet so you can get a quick update, know what's going on, and move on with your day. So super appreciate you guys listening in. And the main thing that we want to talk about is the WhiteBIT integration. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I want to say, if you're tuning in, stick with us to the end of this video because there's quite a bit coming out, and I just want to make sure that you guys catch it and you know what's going on. You have a good pulse. So starting off fresh with the WhiteBIT announcement. So WhiteBIT has officially integrated the FIO protocol into their exchange. So this is just now another exchange that you can transact with. So we have Liquid, BitMax, WhiteBIT, and many different wallets too. And so this is an article that we'll link in the bottom of the description here in the video. And they have some great screenshots of how to register your address. And if you're able to, you're non-US or you use a VPN or whatever you do, go ahead and register an address because I'll let you know that there are going to be some contests coming up that will have that. So if you want to get your username that you want the most before somebody else does, go ahead and do that. You're hearing it first here on this video. And we have an AMA scheduled with them. We'll be doing a giveaway around that as well, multiple giveaways.
And that AMA is next week, right? Is that next Wednesday?
Yeah, so that's going to be on March 9th at 10 a.m. Eastern time on Telegram. We'll also have announcements. So if you're not following us on social, which I'm sure you probably all are, do so because we'll be having announcements coming out there, and you can put it in your calendar if you want to participate in that.
Fantastic. All right, the next update I want to give is about presale domains. So we had a large group of people that supported the FIO protocol very, very early on, even before mainnet launch, and there was an auction for domains. And because of the timing it takes to get all the different wallet integrations going, get everyone to have full custom domain support, there was a bit of a delay there. And so we had a great discussion with the community, and we ended up deciding to renew all of those presale domains. So if you have a presale domain, it's already been renewed all the way to 2022, which I'm pretty excited about. The foundation and the board, everyone agreed on that. So we were able to use a token set aside for address registrations for that purpose, which was pretty exciting. Also, though, if you did get a FIO address, you still need to go ahead and renew those, which we have here in this blog post. If you're not following our blog, definitely go check it out on Medium. This walks you through how you can import your private key into Edge Wallet, for example, and they have like built-in renewal functions for your FIO address. So again, that's on our FIO blog if you want to check that out. The other thing kind of wanted to mention, because it was kind of amazing, it shocked all of us, is we had this incredible token volume this past weekend. It went up to almost $300 million in 24-hour volume, which is just unheard of. It was almost 100x in volume as far as the token. And again, to be super clear, the FIO protocol and the FIO token is a utility token used to help make cryptocurrency easier for everyone. We all know this. It's not meant to be a speculation. It's a utility token. But the value of the token actually is important for the project. And what I mean by that is the block producers that are running the entire chain, the validators, they get paid via the token, by the chain itself and by the fees that are processed on the chain. So having a high liquidity like this is showing is actually really good for the project. So I'm excited about that. It was pretty exciting for us over the weekend as well.
It's great because I think it's important to always keep it in mind for those. I think probably everyone watching this mostly gets that and understands it, but that's how the network is secured. If you want a decentralized economy or a decentralized usability solution, then this is really significant because it attracts more BPs to the network as well, and it further secures the network.
Yeah, I say this often when people say, well, I like blockchain, but I don't like cryptocurrency. Sometimes I have to remind them, if you don't have a valuable cryptocurrency securing a blockchain, then the blockchain is not useful. It's not a very secure database. It's not immutable. For example, it can be 51% attacked in proof of work or 2/3+1 in delegated proof of stake. So it's really important to have a value securing the chain. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about that. As far as the value securing the chain, there's this concept of block producer reserves. And I'm just going to show this as one example of the many different things that are happening every single week. The team is working at an incredible pace to update the blockchain. This is a great discussion we had with the community, with the block producers, about these BP reserves that were set aside to ensure that the validators are well funded to run very secure infrastructure to secure the chain. And I'm very happy to announce this happened, I think just recently, just today, actually, March 2nd, that would be, today. The block producers voted and deployed. You can see all the different block producers that voted and approved this, deployed this change, which reintroduces tokens for the BP reserve pay. And I wanted to give a specific shout out to Green EOS.io. They're currently in position 27. Sukesh did a really great job helping bring together this decentralized community of block producers to talk about this issue. We had multiple meetings with the community about it, and they came up with this and made this change on their own and talked it through. The developers were able to look it through and validate the changes. But I just want to give a great shout out to them. They're not currently in production or in active state. You can see they're just a standby. So it's always good to kind of give a shout out and give credit where credit's due and see people are helping the network. And so if you have some FIO tokens and you haven't participated in voting and governance, feel free to take a look at this page here on Blocks.io. You can log in with Scatter or with Anchor, and you can actually go ahead and help secure the network with your votes. Along those same lines, we've got a lot of opportunities for people to participate in the FIO ecosystem. And when I say opportunities, these are like potential for you to get paid, to add value to the network. These are worker proposals. Katie, myself, everyone in the community gets paid through worker proposals. And there are worker proposals that the foundation has put out there to say, hey, this is something that we need. This is a position we'd like to have filled. So one example here is a QA and test automation engineer. We're currently looking for this position to be filled. The details are here, the requirements. And you can also go onto our community wiki and see that there's a whole page explaining how the opportunities work, how the process works to review those and decide if you want to participate in them. And as a reminder here, this is the FIO community home. This is where kind of all the different information is for what's going on, how you can get involved with worker proposals, initiatives, all that cool kind of stuff. I think that was mostly what we want to talk about that. And the last bit, we were going to talk about this kind of mass adoption idea. But before we get to that, is there anything else you want to jump on?
The only thing that I want to note to our listeners and viewers here is that I know we're going through some of this and we're just scrolling over the pages. It's really so you have a sense that when you go and visit it, all the links will be below in this video, and we'll do that every week. So when we show you these things and you want to read more on it, then you'll be able to reference what you see in the video and know that you're at the right place. So if you're like scurrying to slow down the video and digest all of this, don't worry, all the links are below and you can go at your own pace.
Fantastic. And again, the point is that we just want to let you know a lot of cool stuff's going on, and we want to do it in a compact amount of time because you're probably following a lot of projects and you can't be completely informed on the day-to-day all the time for every project. Fully understand that. And that's why I'm really thankful and happy for Katie for putting these videos together and putting it on the calendar to do. So I'm going to close here with this idea. This is something that I kind of been thinking about quite a bit recently. And I shared this internally with the team. And over the weekend, just kind of for fun, I tweeted it out and I put it on my Facebook, and I was super surprised. A lot of my friends started resharing it, going, guys, this is really important. And I was like, whoa, okay, this is like a draft deck. It's not styled, as you can see. I just threw it together last week, but I started thinking about it, and the response that I've gotten from it has been really interesting. And basically, thinking about the diffusion of innovation, and this links out to the Wikipedia page, and we can make this available if we want. It's still, again, just a draft, but it talks about the innovators, early adopters, early majority, and how that relates to cryptocurrency adoption and exponential growth. You may have seen this before. This is from Wikipedia. We're kind of way over here. It's like just barely a few percentage of people that are involved in crypto. And these early innovators are people that they can put up with a lot of usability challenges. They are kind of the geekiest, nerdist, myself included. Like, we can type out IP addresses to go to websites and we're okay with that. But most people need a nice, HTTP URL, for example. And that's kind of where we're at with crypto. Things are really complicated, confusing, long, big addresses. And we're not yet here at this early adopter stage, but the point of this presentation was to think through, like, I think we're going to get there much, much faster than people realize. I'm not going to read through all of this, but the basic idea is if you're participating in a network that has exponential growth, then the doublings are happening so quickly. But at a certain point in time, when you get to a certain point, around 8% or so, the tipping point, it's almost inevitable that it's going to quickly go to 100%. It's going to happen much faster than you think. You're only a number of doublings away to getting to that full adoption. I'm going to give a shout out to my friend Sean King, who includes this in his many fantastic maxims that he has. And a lot of this came from this article that I read about, comparing the mass adoption of Bitcoin to the internet. And so that's kind of where the parallels are being made, thinking about, how many millions of people were on the internet in the early days. My first building websites on the internet was in 1996, actually. I was still in high school at the time, but I was part of this kind of early adoption, very, very small percentage of people getting involved. But I saw it even then. I was like, this is the future of the world. This is going to be amazing. And I feel like in 2013, I had that same perception about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And so you can see that these numbers go from, pretty small to ridiculously large in a very small amount of time once you reach that tipping point of percentage of the world. And I think that's kind of where we're close to. I think it's going to shock people to go from tens of millions to hundreds of millions so quickly.
But here's something I've also seen. I don't know if it's in this deck, Luke, but I know that I've seen it recently, where it's a comparison of things like the Bitcoin network, the internet, how many years it took to go from like horse and buggy to a car, and these big like industrial changes. And each of them that they were analyzing took like a certain span of time, and each new progression, that span of time was shortening. And so if we look at the context of the internet and comparing it directly with the Bitcoin network and blockchain and cryptocurrency, it's even shorter, and it's massive. I mean,
so this is an example of, if you look at that curve, it's taken 4 years in terms of Bitcoin. It took 7.5 years as far as the internet. That's an example. And I've seen similar things with the iPhone. And again, if you go far enough back with like, refrigerators and other things that got adopted, it took much, much longer. So I think these networked technologies kind of build on each other, and they accelerate the next network technology that comes out. And this is covered a little bit here, where it talks about kind of comparing the Bitcoin network to the internet network and how close we are. When it says it's projected that in the next 4 years, Bitcoin will have around 1 billion users, that's an amazing claim. And most people are like, holy moly, I can't even comprehend that.
How long did it take Facebook to get there, right?
What's that?
How long did it take Facebook to get there? And then just, all of this happened. I remember, when I got my first iPhone, and now everyone has one, right? And it kind of creeps up on you, and it happens without you really noticing how integrated these networks, these systems really completely arrogate our day-to-day lives.
And it's really, specifically with cryptocurrency, I think it's really important, because if we understand this, if we're running a company and we think about this, the majority of the users we want to reach are not the users we're talking to today. It's not these early innovators. It's actually the adopters. And so when we talk about reaching the greatest number of users, we should focus on the right group of users. And that means the people that are coming, not the people that are involved in it today. And so this idea that I'm going to get through here, this doesn't feel right. Like, we're originally like, wait, how can this be real? How can we have so many people coming to this so quickly? Like, this can't be right. And the idea is that exponential growth never feels right. We don't have many examples of it in nature. We haven't really evolved to kind of understand things in this way, but it's mathematically consistent. And we have so many examples of it that it gets to the point where we can't deny this, even though it may not feel right and it may seem counterintuitive. I mean, I've been in crypto for more than 8 years now, feeling like, oh yeah, it's coming. But the idea that this is coming now, it's either we're not in exponential growth, which all the data for the last 10 years shows that we are, or this is for some reason different than any other system that has always followed this pattern. And so I think the conclusion makes sense, that we're in this pattern, and whether or not it feels right, it's happening. And so I started thinking about, what can FIO do as an example? And you as the community, you guys can help with this, is like, get together a list of companies that aren't in crypto today, but really understand this. And they're going to be desperate to get on the adoption curve. Kind of like people are like, wait, how do we not have a website? We need a website immediately. This is where, the world is meeting online now. And so this idea of creating educational content, helping people realize how they can get onboarded, how they can get cryptocurrency as part of their product or service, how their customers can be onboarded with an experience that they're going to expect. And I think that's a really important point, is that there's few companies that are prioritizing the user experience of crypto other than the FIO protocol. Many of them are like, well, it doesn't matter. We have a bunch of users coming in, so it's okay. They can put up with this terrible experience.
So talk to us for a minute. You went down this rabbit hole, you put this together, but pull it into FIO for the audience. Like, how are you thinking about this in relation to FIO? Now, I see it, but I want you to be able to have the platform to say it to the audience. Thank
you, Katie. Yeah, it's one of these like big grand visions, but it's helpful to kind of pull it back to go, okay, where are we at today and how do we get there? And it's the idea that if mathematically most of the people that are going to be in crypto are not in crypto at all today, and they're all coming in the next couple of years, and they're, again, not the innovators, they're the early adopters, they're people further along that curve we showed earlier, then they're going to expect a really great user experience. And it's not going to happen unless they have that great experience. And so if FIO is partnering with these companies that recognize this, and you can look at what MicroStrategy's been doing with their investment, you can look at Tesla, and all these other companies are getting it now more and more, even in the last couple months. And I think that's going to accelerate even. If FIO positions themselves to be like, okay, if a company goes out there and says, who do we turn to teach us how the heck to do this? Well, the foundation for inner wallet operability, that decentralized autonomous consortia that has wallets and exchanges and payment gateways, all these different members that are part of our community, all of our partners, people that we work with, they're going to be ready to be like, we know how to get you onboarded to cryptocurrency. We have the different service providers, like whether it's Portis or the Edge wallet, where they have backend systems to be able to manage private keys and do things of that nature. We've got, again, the exchanges, the wallets, anything that any company or service provider would need in order to get their company onboarded to crypto, and then ensuring that FIO is an important part of that onboarding, meaning their users are going to expect a great experience. And with the FIO protocol, we can provide that. We become the standard for all crypto-enabled products, where it's like, I need to be able to do a payment request. I can do that with my bank and bill pay, and I can do that with PayPal and Venmo. And so I want to do that with crypto as well. We're able to provide that experience. And we onboard them as FIO users. And it's kind of like when you got your first AOL account, like your first AOL, so many people kept using that AOL address as their email for years and years and years later. And the idea being, whichever company gets somebody onboarded to the FIO protocol and gets them to get a FIO address at their domain, that can become their FIO address that they use ongoing for a long time. I still use my Luke at Edge, for example, because Edge was one of the first wallets to integrate the FIO protocol. So those are kind of things that I'm pretty excited about, and thinking through how we can help these companies connect them to the different service providers they need to become crypto enabled, to be able to get their company and service on the blockchain. I think is going to be a huge, huge opportunity, and it's going to be big for our community. Anyone who's looking for work, looking for new customers, looking for new acquisitions, like, you can come into this FIO protocol consortia and help with this onboarding process, help finding these companies who are, I believe, going to be desperate for this in a very short amount of time. They're going to be like, please, someone explain to my executive team how we can get our company on a blockchain. How do we get involved? How do we onboard our customers? How do we pay our vendors and everyone in crypto? Just like we did the last 2 days, the FIO protocol. I've been, paying our own team with worker proposals using FIO requests, and it was a super wonderful, joyful experience. Everyone who's going to get on crypto is going to have that type of experience. So anyway, just to kind of close this up here, I know we're going a little bit long, but the idea is that we're going to have partners at every level of the process, and FIO can be a way to help companies and service providers get involved. And I did this graphic a little while ago. I just want to run through it kind of quickly, but the idea is it's a lot of technical details. If you're to take a product or a service or an app and get it on the blockchain, you have to worry about seed phrases and private keys, and then there's public keys with that. You have these blockchains and the different way you manage if it's like a deterministic wallet, for example, generating new public addresses for each transaction. You have the nodes for the different blockchains you want to support. You've got query nodes or API nodes. And those sometimes, for like, if you want to track the history of a transaction, you have to have a separate node for that. People that are involved in Ethereum and EOS know all about that. It can be very challenging. Then you've got SDKs, of course, to interact with those different APIs. You've got the UX UI of the actual application or website. And then, of course, sending and receiving cryptocurrency. And the key at the top here is we want this entire thing. So basically, the only thing the user would ever have to worry about is right up here at the top. just the FIO human readable address. Everything beneath here, the user won't have to worry about. And this will be something that the FIO consortia can help the different companies and service providers figure out. So anyway, that's a really longer presentation given very, very quickly to give you an idea of some of the things we're thinking about as a team behind the scenes. And Katie recommended I kind of show that. I thought that was a cool idea. So what are your thoughts on that, Katie? I mean, does that resonate with you as far as like, this is where things are going and FIO can play a role?
Oh, 100%. I mean, for me, it's not even a thought. This is what I do for fun is I study cultural trends and behaviors, and it's just what I nerd out on. Okay. And so for me, yes, all day long. In fact, I can recommend a great independent piece that would, if you read that, it would completely substantiate everything that you're, thinking, how you're thinking. And it's called, it's by a nonprofit research group called Rethink X, and they put together an open source research piece called Rethinking Humanity, and it does walk through like all these major shifts, right? And this, you're laughing.
I'm laughing because you sent me this PDF like almost a year ago, and it's still on my to-do list to read, and I haven't gotten through it yet. Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's
yeah. So, anyway, I'll link that in there too if anyone's interested. But it's great, and just validates everything that you were saying. But I think, I don't know, I'm just really excited. I think we're going to be overwhelmed quickly. And that's why I think it's what I like about and why I wanted to share some of this with our community is I think it's really important. I want you guys to feel like empowered and interested to comment, to give feedback. Like, this is what this is about. It's about being decentralized. It's about being inclusive. And so that's like, I know Luke and me and so many others, like that's the core of, why we're here in blockchain. So I want to invite people to, get inside our minds. Like, this is how we're thinking. This is what we're thinking through. What are your thoughts? And when you do that group think, oh my gosh, it's like limitless, and you can go so much faster too. So please let us know.
You just reminded me of this here. So Pablo, our Chief Product Officer, has got a number of things here: FIO staking, FIO layer 2, request for signature, verified FIO addresses. We've got a lot of open things that you can come in as a community member and comment on. This is our Discord. It's very active. This is where the team is hanging out. All of these can be commented on. And so if you've got ideas of how to improve FIO, ways that FIO can be used, please jump in here. If you can add a comment, read through these, give it your thoughts, that would be super, super helpful for us.
Not only do we want you guys to come into the fold more and more and grow that as wide as we can, but we have a system that's designed courtesy of Satoshi and put it all together. Now we're able to, incentivize people to help with this. It's not just about, hey, give us your thoughts for free. It's like, hey, come in. If you're really interested, let's talk and see how we can make it work for everybody.
Awesome. Well, this has been a great update video, Katie. I know we went a little long on this one, but I think it was fun. Hopefully you all enjoyed it as well. And until next time, we'll see you later.
Bye-bye.